disabled, and now we are here. So again, what I was mentioning is welcome. Again, another Monday, a weekly VFR challenge. I cannot wait to fly today. Not only just because it's a nice project where I'm challenging myself to fly, but also because it's such a nice social event, right? We're flying with many PilotEdge members here today. And the flight that we're going to do this Monday, again, these are weekly VFR challenges. So next Monday, we're going to do another one, is a flight from French Valley Airport to Cable Airport, another non-towered airport up north of French Valley. And for those who are familiar with the LA area, know that in between French Valley and Cable Airport, there is a lot of airspace that we need to cross. Charlie airspace, even potential Bravo airspace and Delta airspace, Chino, and all kinds of other airports. And to make matters worse, it's not even proper VFR weather today. We got marginal VMC, as you can see. Also IMC currently at Cable. So strictly, we are not even capable of making our particular flight. Now, I'm going to challenge myself and see how far I can get using real world weather. And as you can see here on the ramp of French Valley, here we are. You can see another PilotEdge member here, over there, over there, over there. So I'm really psyched about the fact that these VFR challenges spark an interest in many other PilotEdge members, also especially those who are residing in Europe, who like to fly with others as well around this time and challenge ourselves with VFR flight, not IFR flight, but VFR flight. And I think that's really exciting. And obviously, thank you, Finish, for being here. I was thinking about how you were doing, and good to see you here. Also, I didn't think I seen you in the previous VFR challenge last week. I'm hoping that you like these VFR challenges as well. Gerald, good to see you. Lars, good to see you. So what we're going to do is just do some plain old VFR flying, and my IFR flying finish, I will absolutely going to continue. I was actually planning to do this weekend, but I was busy with work. So I'm doing a lot of ground school on IFR terms and prepping myself for my actual first IFR flight soon. But these flights are also very interesting, I think, VFR flights with others here at French Valley. Now, what is the flight gonna be? For those who are new, let me first bring up the particular weekly VFR challenge for today, so you also become a little bit more familiar with this project. And weekly VFR challenges, right? So every Monday from now on, we're going to fly, and I'm hoping that it will inspire others as well to do these flights together. And in that sense, it doesn't really feel like it's my event. I'm just making up an excuse for us all to fly. So perhaps on some Monday in the future, I will not be able to make it, but still the VFR Challenge event is going to continue. And you guys can participate as well, independently of my presence there. So that's kind of like the idea. So I'm loading up the challenge right now. Here we are, and now I can show you. This is it, the weekly VFR challenge for today. So from French Valley to Cable Airport, VFR daylight, real-time local weather. Well, that's a problem for today, as you can see right now. Aircraft of choice, and the challenge is no GPS. So no moving maps, because that would make the flight a little bit more easy, right? You can see all of the airspaces depicted on your GPS, and you can just, using the moving map, just fly around those. But now without a GPS, we need to use plain old radio navigation and stuff to circumvent all of those airspaces, which I think is really interesting and educational, potentially educational. And that's also the spirit of these VFR challenges. Hey Vega, good to see you. Summer is almost here. Yes. Finish, yeah, I've been very busy with university vacation starts next week. Oh, that's good to hear. Good Finish. Wonderful. So this is the flight that we're going to do today. And again, yeah, the VFR bit is a little bit, yeah, also challenging on its own. As you can see, we got VMC, a marginal VMC all around, also some IMC on Cable Airport or destination airport for today. So that's a little bit tricky. So I'm going to get as far, as near to Cable Airport or destination airport as I can under VFR, under visual flight rules, staying clear of clouds, using navigation without a GPS. Let's see how far I can get, and if I cannot make it because of weather, I will change up the weather and make Cable anyways and meet with all of these wonderful other PilotEdge members here on the ramp. because that's also cool, right? To fly with increased VFR traffic. This is not just a nice social event and not also an excuse to fly each and every week, VFR, but also just to enjoy, but also challenge ourselves with increased VFR traffic. Imagine being in a pattern with five pilots at the same time doing announcements on an untowered airport. That's going to happen soon when we reach cable. That's going to be challenging. It's going to be quite different from flying a traffic pattern on your own, I can tell. So this is wonderful to see. Many others here on the ramp. And if you've got a PilotEdge account as well, feel free to join at any time here. This event does not require you to be on a group chat or to coordinate your flight in any way with others. You can just anonymously join the ramp and fly this challenge as well, just to see if you can complete it and be part of a mass fly out, you can say, to a destination airport with a particular challenge. So please feel free to just join. Okay, having said that, the challenge is actually going to start in 3 minutes or so officially, and others will fly as well. So let's prep our little flight 2. Here we are in the cockpit, the 172. What is the particular flight that I planned for today? This is the flight, and it's not a straight line towards cable. So this is French Valley over here at the bottom. There we are, French Valley, non-towered airport. Wonderful area here to fly. It's gorgeous, particularly when it's sunny weather. And here is cable. And as you can see, it's just tucked at the top there of that Charlie class airport of Ontario. There's also Brackett Airport here to the west. Also tucked underneath that Charlie, we got Chino here as Delta. So there's a lot of airspace here. So this is particularly a flight where you would use flight following on your GPS. But that is the challenge for today. Let's see if I'm able, and other pilots as well, my fellow pilots here on the ramp, to see if we can reach cable without using the GPS. Now, I initially planned a completely different flight, which was much more in line with much more straight line towards cable. Overfly all of the airspace and then circle down on top of cable, kind of. But because of the weather, which is not good, we got all kinds of overcast and broken layers and stuff around the area. You can see all of the blue depictions here, the flight category depictions. This is not doable, I think. So that's why I thought to go the other way around from the east side, a little bit to Banning Airport, the Palm Springs area there to the right, because usually, and today as well, that's where the good weather is. So I'm hoping to use that weather to even go up and fly over the bad weather, over the overcast layer, which is not a good thing that I would never do in real world, because there's a chance if you overfly overcast, which you're allowed to do as a VFR pilot, that once you reach your destination airport, you're not able to descend through the cloud layer and get to your destination, right? And you're stuck there on top of the overcast, and then you've got a problem. So this is, again, this is a challenge. This is the use of simulation, just to see how far we can go and to learn from these experiences. So I like to go through Banning, then go up north. Perhaps we need to cross the Bernardino Delta here, as I planned it, my flight plan here right now. I will stay quite low to the ground, around 1,000 feet AGL, 1,500 feet AGL, to stay underneath all of those cloud layers, and then keep north of this Charlie airspace, and then to creep myself into cable, and let's see if I can get there. If not, I'm going to change up the weather, but I think it's fun just to see if we can deal with this, if we can cope with this. I think that's really cool. Tim, if cable is IMC, why not try yourself the VOR? Yeah, because it's a VFR challenge finish. That's the idea. But I could as part of IFR, obviously. I did all my check rides except one or cable. Yeah, roger. All right. So this is going to be the flight. So in terms of the departure, we're going to go up north to the Homeland VOR. That's the first leg. I'm going to stay low. From the Homeland VOR, we're going to go to Banning, and then we go up north to get all the way around to cable. That's my idea. All right, yeah, and it's not too tough because we don't have a towered airport here. You can see because of the weather, it's quite dark. I'm actually flying in daylight time. It's just a few hours afternoon. But yeah, it seems like it's already at night here because of all of that weather. Let me just sync my track IR. Here we are. Wonderful. Doors already closed. Let's also fasten my seatbelts. like that. And let's do a colander check. Parking brakes are not set. They are set right now. Fire extinguisher, live vest, blah, 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 blah. Doors closed, windows are closed. ELT is set to auto. Flat lever is up and our flaps are actually up. My mixture side deck is working, throttle as well. My trim is set, fuel tank set to both. Alternate is in, or cutoff is in, alternate is in. Avionics are off. All the switches are off. Light switches here except for the beacon, that's good. Batteries are off and ignition switch set off. Ah, there's the first one already going to cable. Very good. Awesome. Turn on some batteries. We don't have enough fuel, so let's change that up right now. This would be plenty. Much better. Then we can, we're not going to check the lights and the pitot tube, even though that would be quite relevant here in terms of this weather. For time's sakes, I will not. I messed around with the transponder here and it's still set. Let's put that to VFR, obviously. Avionics are on, everything seems to work. The displays go on. Let's turn our flaps down. Let's see if those go down. They seem to be working just fine. Good, 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 good. Volts, vacuum. This is all okay. And oh yeah, this is a little bit of a glitch. And this will resolve itself. I'm flying one of the latest beta versions of the SimCoders rep, and something is going on with the heading indicator, and it solves itself once I start the engine. So I'm going to ignore this. We do know what the runways are. 18 is in use, it seems. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I set this to 18. And this is all set as well. Wonderful. Then throttle a bit in, fuel tanks set to both, fuel pump on, mixture full in, positive fuel flow, 2, 3, cut off, fuel pump off, and let's see if I can start it. I also noticed that the new rep also has a little bit different of a fuel priming behavior, so I was a little bit off last time. Let's see if I'm now able to start it. Yeah, is anyone walking around? Nope, so clear prop. Yes, there we go. Oil pressure is already in the green, 1200, very good. Let's turn on the alternator, rise in the M meter, that's good. Lean for ground, I can see the RPM increase and then dip. So this is a proper ground setting. And temps, very good. Avionics on, let's go mode C, VFR. And we can set some frequencies. Hello, are the clouds at, they're really, really low. Currently IMC, I think, but the TAFs look better. It's going to be 2 layers, broken and scattered. So if you go to skyvector.com, you can have a look. Look yourself, and please update me to see how the weather is developing. Let's go through all these screens over here. Good. GPS, I just want to have, yeah, nav mode, that's okay. First off, we need the CDEF of French Valley, which is 122.8, not a surprise, 122.8. That's set. Those are already some PilotEdge members. Pilot is going to fly to cable, part of the VFR challenge. That's wonderful. What's the next frequency that we're going to need? Well, I'm going to need banning because we're going to fly low. I'm actually going to cross that traffic pattern, and I need to be sure that no other pilots are flying there, or that I'm not flying into anyone there. And that is 122.8 as well, so I cannot change. I don't have to change anything. Then we're going to go to San Bernardino. I'm probably going to cross that Delta airspace. 119.45. So I'm going to request once we're there to cross the Delta airspace. That's good. I don't need anything else yet. I do like to listen to the weather, obviously. AWOS we have at French Valley, which is 119.025. 119.02. That's currently set in the COM2 active, and obviously I'd like to listen to the ADIS or AWOS of cable, and there it is, 119.52. That's the one that I'm particularly worried about, or interested in, I should say. Good. That's set as well, so now we can listen to the COM2 here. Good. 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 8.8. That's good. And I don't care about that. Alrighty then. So then I can switch my COM2 back to the ADIS of cable. Let's see if I can listen to that one already. No, because we're at the ground, I guess. I hope. Otherwise, we need to tune into the Ontario ADIS or AWAS, and we'll have a look. We're not hearing the AWAS, just a heads up. Oh, that's weird, Vega. Should be able to... Well. That's a bit weird. I did hear the AWAS in the previous few minutes, so I'm hoping that you guys heard that as well. Come on. That's already someone who is departing. We can already tune in some VORs, obviously. I'm going to use the Homeland VOR 113.4. 113.4. And I'm also interested in the Pomona, I think. Pomona, yeah, 110.4. In case we need it. A lot of people here departing French Valley. This is awesome, guys. Thank you for joining. If you're listening at the stream at the same time. Northwest, that's digital. Digital Aviator is also streaming at Twitch right now, so he's doing the same VFR challenge, so you can hop over if you like. Hoping that in the future many more streamers, Twitch streamers, will join these VFR challenges as well, and we can all stream and just raise some awareness, just to make this event a little bit more substantial. I really love already flying with 5 pilots or so, but still. Yes, so we need to fly to the north, northeast, and we can fly, or the northwest, kind of, particularly to the north, actually, to Homeland. We already have a reading. There's Homeland here on the GPS. I need to turn this one off, obviously, something like this. And let's go up north, and it should give us a northwesterly, northish kind of, yeah, so that corresponds. Wonderful. Awesome. Isn't this cool, guys? So we're all trying to get to cable in this bad soup. There's always someone there on crosswind. This is so awesome. Alrighty. So everything is on. Engine is, yeah, that looks perfect. Turn to the south. My compass is now working. My heading indicator is working as well. That's wonderful. Yeah, we're ready to go. French Valley is set. Awesome. I don't think this is actually properly set, by the way. We're turned to the east. I noticed that it... All right. No one is there. No one is there. Heading indicator, slip indicator, turn indicator is turning. Wonderful. There we go, guys. Ah, Roger, finish. Or just we're not hearing it. Very low. Yeah, it's a bit hard. The ADIS volume on its own, I don't know if it has its own audio slider in X-Plane, but the PilotEdge audio is much louder relatively to the ADIS, and so that's why when I crank up the master volume, the actual CTEF transmissions by the other pilots just become so far too loud. So and the ADIS is not that interesting, I guess, to you guys, but I should look into that. Okay, here we are. Engine is it already in the green? Just there. All right. Left downwind. 3,000. Okay. 1,800. No initiator messages. Everything looks stable. That's good. Left mag. Good enough drop. Back to both. Right mag. Good enough. Back to both. Let's go down. No engine trouble there. That's wonderful. Also noticing that my Pop Hotel Tango mic is not here. I've updated to 11.20 here in X-Plane, and I think that I still need to copy paste some other. Yeah, I still don't see my Uncertified Pilot logo here. I need to do my livery install. I do think that my external, yeah, it's all yellow here, but the cockpit layers textures are not there. All right, I will need to do that. Landing lights on, strobe lights on. I also like to know that my elevators or my ailerons are working. Good. Those are my elevators. My trim is working as well. Oh, you're also not hearing anything else. Oh, also no engines. Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, my audio devices are reset. I think you guys can now hear my engine. If not, let me know. So somehow OBS, my streaming software, has been reset or... Alright, one notch of flaps. And French Valley traffic, Skyhawk Pop Hotel Tango Mike is taking off runway 18 for a left downwind departure to 1500 feet, French Valley. Ah, thanks guys, sorry. Alright, there we are, full power. We got full power, full RPM I mean. Pressure, everything looks good. Airspeed's alive, 50 and 60. Rotates. Nose down a bit to get to VY first. What a weather, look at that. That doesn't look pleasant at all. My gosh. Okay, 300 feet AGL, flaps up. Put that nose up. See some other traffic over there. French ready traffic, Skyhawk Pop Hotel Tango Mike is turning left crosswind, runway 18 for a left downwind departure. Okay. Good. Man, this is going to be challenging. French Valley traffic, Skyhawk Pop Hotel Tango Mike is turning left downwind for runway 18, and we're going to depart the traffic pending area to the north, 1500 French Valley. Alright, south at the bottom. There's the runway again. Around 1000 feet AGL. Oh my gosh, look at this. Clouds everywhere. Again, we got the VOR here, reading 12.9 DME. Stay clear of the French Valley Airport. Let's see how far we can get, guys. This is going to be challenging. Jude, what's your question? Answer, did you mod your Cessna yoke? No, I didn't. This is just the plain old Cytec Cessna yoke, the Pro yoke. Anyone else on the traffic transmitting, so let's cross over here. Always a bit dangerous if you're going to cross this potential approach. So see other traffic there. I think that's AI. I don't hear any announcements. I'm now interested in flying towards the homeland. So that's 3-3, that's good. Want to go any higher. Let's see if we can underfly this soup, guys. It's so hard also to see the actual clouds, individual clouds, to see if we can actually circumvent those. I think my yoke is also not really properly calibrated. No, it's turning to the right. I'll change that. Change, calibrate, and ignore. Love this quick calibration feature here of X-Plane. Finish, done. Much better. Yes, that's good. Okay, still a bit off track. A bit more power. So if you hop over to PilotEdge.net and you look at the live map, you can see multiple pilots fly towards Cable, each with their own flight plan, which is awesome. 9.6 nautical miles before homeland, 1,000 feet, and a lot of clouds. So not good visibility, but good enough for VFR. Let's also do this. Let's have a look. So we're flying this first initial leg here. Oh, I would like to have the high-res chart. And then we're going to make a right turn to around 50 degrees. Towards Benning, hoping that the weather improves when we go to the a bit more to the east. That's the idea, at least. All right, not really flying that closely towards. That perfectly towards homeland. 30, this is in sync. So we can now turn back again. 7.7 nautical miles. And again, it's important for us to not go too far in this direction, because if we continue our flight, we're going to actually fly into the March surface core Charlie shell there. And that's not a good thing. Obviously, without any, not having established two-way communication. My gosh.
French Valley traffic, Baron 49 Zulu, 5 mile final, runway 18, full stop.
Alright, there's still someone on French Valley. Again, some individual clouds here. Vega, have you done any mods to your yoke? Yeah, I've already answered that question, Vega. Thanks for reminding me. No, I didn't. Didn't use any mods. Alright, let's keep down. I like to stay at around 1,000 feet-ish AGL. Also want to stay on that radial. I'm not that worried to fly at a particular radial, but just heading towards homeland. 5.3 nautical miles. So far so good, but it's looking daunting, don't you guys think? My gosh. Yeah, exactly, Vega. And Finish is totally right. I mean, this is the great value of being an IFR pilot, where you can just request clearance for an IFR flight plan to Cable. But in spirit of the VFR challenge, let's see if we can also do it without an IFR, which is not responsible at all in the real world, but as part of a simulation challenge, I think this is really, really fun. Alright, 3.9 nautical miles. Staying low at the ground. Again, the visibility is kind of okay. Still nicely avoiding clouds. And again, what's the rule? 3512. That's the rule. At least 3 nautical miles of statute miles of visibility. 500 feet below the cloud base. At least 500 feet below. 1,000 feet at least above a cloud. And at least 2,000 feet laterally away from a cloud. That's the VFR. That's the visual flight rule in terms of cloud separation, at least for Echo airspace. 2.4 nautical miles. Now I need to be a little bit more careful, because if we continue flying, I guess we're going to fly into March Airport, that surface Charlie airspace. So syncing my heading indicator with my compass, making sure that we don't have any gyro drifts.
French Valley traffic. So clear runway. Taxiing
That's a bad
to
transmission.
the ramp.
Vega, I have to try to remember that. Exactly. So there you can see already the airport lights. We're at 1 nautical mile. So let's already make that turn to 50, something like that. We're going to head to Benning, hoping that the weather actually improves when we go towards that direction. That should swap the VOR here to from soon. There we go. A bit worried about my speed there. You can also listen a lot to your engine to see what is going on. As we fly to Benning, the terrain will increase, so we will climb as well, keeping our AGL the same. Our same altitude in reference to the ground rather than sea level. Let's also just put on our pitot heat, even though we didn't check it at the ground. It's especially important when flying IMC or when you expect some moist clouds, bad visibility stuff during your VFR flight. Because you need to make sure that your pitot tube is actually heating up. You can flip the switch, but that doesn't mean that the system is actually working. Alright, there's our from reading, 50-ish. What are we flying? We're flying actually a bit more to the east. 60 is fine as well. If I look at my charts, this should actually be 55. So let's set it to 55. That will bring us right over Benning. And that's important because we also have terrain. So fly this heading, then this needle should gradually creep in. It already starts to do so. Now already plus 3,000 MSL, so that means I can already start to lean, which makes us a little bit more conservative with our fuel. Always good. So better performance. There's the needle. So far so good. Cloud here in front of us that we need to avoid, so let's go a little bit to the left there and turn around. Man, what a soup. There is March, I think, the airport lights. Alright, still it seems that we're close enough to the ground. It's wonderful. Already past the radial. That's something that really happens often, too often. In my case, when I'm just chatting around and looking at other stuff, when actually the completion of a task is already quite near. So I shouldn't distract myself from completing tasks just before I'm about to do so. Also, in terms of a sterile cockpit, sterile mind, or sterile focus, or so for example now my task is to catch the needle. I should not now change my attention to anything else. That's obviously when something is really urgent you should, but so there we go, and catch it. And that's what I love about VFR flying as well, but also IFR flying, is there's a systematic approach to flying in the airspace system, using procedures, instrument procedures, or whatever. But there's also some kind of a systematic approach to thinking aviation, to thinking about flying, and not distracting yourself and being focused and stuff. I think that's really important. Alright, visibility clearly has worsened. That's one disadvantage of flying towards Benning. If that same cloud layer is still reaching out all the way to Benning, then we got terrain issues, because the terrain goes up but the cloud layer stays the same, and if we continue flying then we might fly into a mountain because we cannot go any higher or remain clear of the terrain. Now, luckily this seems to be okay. I know that Palm Springs and Benning seems to have good weather. Now just flying a bit away from the needle here because of terrain, but this is a risky move. Again, in real world I wouldn't try this at all, but let's just see what happens. That's part of the challenge. Now what's interesting is I'm flying this particular radial, but what I should have done, and I've totally forgot again as part of VFR flying, is also turn on my timer so I know how far I need to fly this stuff. Now, what we can do is catch the radial here of Palm Springs. That's 115.5. 115.5. I should have set that as well. Terrain advisory, yes, I know. And that's gonna be, what was it? 260. 260. Yes. So as we are flying, this needle is going to creep in. So that's bands here. That's what I'm trying to catch. And then we can go up north over Benning. I can see already the airport lights there. That's a good sign. This is interesting. My gosh. So I'm clearly a bit sloppy here. Should be much more systematic and prepared. So I just jumped in my cockpit and said, well, let's try this. Well, I should have actually used the timer. I think we can do the same for our next leg, obviously. So let's go to estimate elapsed time. Go to our map. Provided we were flying 100 knots, it would take us about, where is it? 8 minutes. Roger. 8 minutes. 1-2.8. Benning, we're coming from the southwest. Benning traffic, Skypop Hotel Tingway Mike is around 5 miles southwest of the airport, currently at 3,400. We're gonna just cross the airfield area and continue our flight up to the north at 3,500 Benning. So any other traffic that's currently on Benning knows that we're coming here. Perhaps we could have done that announcement already quite a bit sooner. Also, I know there's a lot of AI there. AI traffic. It's better just to cross. You can see the weather is already a bit better on this side. He said. Visibility is already worsening. Okay, what's our next? It's gonna go up north, and then we're gonna catch the that Reens thing. And what we're gonna do is set the Pomona VOR. Yes, Pomona was at the F1. Is that true? It's 1110.4. Yes, and 1110.4. And what direction is this? I see. Hello. 073. Oh, damn it. Oh, we lost the game. We just lost visibility. 073, but that's from 073. This. Am I seeing that correctly? Yes, I think so. And banning traffic, Skyport Hotel taking bike is 3 miles southwest of the airport, currently at 3,500. We're going to cross over midfield and continue our flight up north at 3,500. Banning. You can see all of this traffic here. This is all AI, which is making traffic patterns as well, and it's going to totally ignore what we're doing here. Lights. No, I'm not a real pilot. I'm just an uncertified pilot. There's some other traffic over there. Be sure that we remain clear. Again, upwind traffic. This is dangerous. And again, in the real world, I would not try to do this, I guess, or other pilots would know that what I was doing and could perhaps accommodate my transition here. But again, this is a hypothetical flight. This is not good. Again, lost visual here. And if it's going to stay this way, I need to change my weather. Alright, there we go. Let's remain clear of these clouds. Don't want to go any higher. This is not good. So now we're actually changing our direction up north-northwest. It's also a bit unrealistic that you cannot see particular clouds and stuff in front of you, so this worsening of the visibility is a bit unexpected. 305, yes, that's what that's indeed correct. 305, that's what we need to fly from Benning. Let's see. And we're going to catch that radial. I think I need to change my weather here. That's a bummer. I thought that the weather was would be okay on this side, and it apparently isn't. We tried. Broken cumulus, blah blah blah. Okay, so what we're gonna do is manually configured marginal VFR overcast at, let's pick 3,000. Apply. Perhaps you also need to have a visibility increase. 10. I think that should work. Hello? Why is the weather not improving? Pretty explain. That's a bit weird. 3,000. Oh yeah, no, it's 3,000 MSL. Yeah, so that's
French Valley traffic. Piper Delta Echo Charlie Charlie
no,
Tango.
That's not what I want.
Taxi to runway 36. French Valley.
Done. Apply. That's better. Alright, 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 alright. And I think even 7,000 might be a bit difficult. Alright, so let's go up. Still going to continue my flight here. 305. Stay close to those mountains, and let's see if we can catch that particular radial. Northeast, yeah, so this is reverse sensing, so that's a bit weird. But I don't really mind at this moment. Going up. Still, we cannot fly this with this weather, unfortunately. Overcast. Let's set it to 13. Visibility 15 then. This should. Why is there still so much visibility issue here? That's a bit weird to me, actually. Let's remove this cloud layer then. And let's just set VFR 7 miles. Boom, that's better. Wow, that's a change. All right. Are you online or AI? Well, I'm flying online. I'm not artificial intelligence. I'm flying online on PilotEdge, which I really, really love. All right. So, unfortunately, the real weather conditions did not allow us to make this particular flight. We tried. It did look pretty, I have to say. But now we changed our weather to perfect weather, as you can see, perfect flying weather. And that's the big advantage of flight simulation. We're still going to continue our flight without using the GPS. I'm currently flying 305-ish. And I'm flying this particular leg to get in front of Redlands. Thanks for the subscription, Kimo. Appreciate it, buddy. 10 months, my gosh. That is support. Thanks. Thank you. Long-time subscriber and supporter. Kimo. Who you all well know, I guess. 305, yeah. So that's okay. So I'm gonna... My attempt is here to capture Reens here. So that Victor Airway.
Traffic. Baron 49 Zulu taxi
073
runway
from Pomona.
36,
so that's what I
Alpha,
set.
French Valley.
Now because I set it to 073, I'm actually now reverse flying the radial. So rather than now flying to the left, I need to fly to the right of my current heading just to capture that that needle. Once we're there, we should be able to see cable. And let me see, looking at the charts, we can overfly San Bernardino because that's already at 3,200 at Shelf Airspace Aerodrome. So that's cool as well. So if we fly at 6,500, that's a proper VFR altitude by which we can go to cable. So that's what we're going to do. So already at the needle there. So that means that we're near beans and also near cable. Oh, not cable, sorry, Redlands. Redlands should be somewhere around here. Let's see if we can spot it. It's always hard, and with photoreal everything becomes harder. Already crossed that needle now, so we're at Beans. Let's see if we can spot it. Redlands, that's it. It's a nice airport. Let's make a right turn here. Continue our climb to 6,500. Look at those mountains here, guys. It's such a pretty area. Because we already crossed Benning, we could also swap our CTAF frequency to that of cable. There's 6,500. Cable, 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 where are you? Cable? Cable Redlands. I'm mistaking. Cable Redlands, where is it? It's so hard.
French Valley, Piper Delta Echo Charlie Charlie Tango departing.
I don't even see
Runway
it.
36 for pattern work.
I don't
French Valley.
even see
French
it.
Valley.
Alright, 6,500. Let's trim again. Nicely leaned. Landing lights could have already been turned off. I kept them on because we had that bad weather, so you just like to be as lit up as possible. Bit more power. Don't want to go down. Alrighty. Now let's look at the airspace. Still want to go up. So we're flying towards the west, that's correct. We can overfly the delta. The Charlie goes up to 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Yeah, wonderful. So we could also now fly towards Pomona and just casually fly in Echo airspace and have a look. So let's turn this thing around.
French Valley traffic, Baron 49ers Zulu, departing runway 36 straight out to the north, French Valley.
Alright, so this is the heading that we can fly to get to Pomona. That's okay. Still, I'd like to fly proper
French Valley
VFR
traffic,
altitudes.
Delta Echo Charlie Charlie Tango, enter right base.
Okay, that's good. What's
Right
the
crossing,
CDAF
sorry.
cable? That's 123.0. 123.0. I'm not interested in the AWAS anymore because we fly our own radar. 123.0.
Anybody know where Tim is?
No clue.
I wasn't
They're-
watching his stream, so I don't know what he's doing.
They're looking for me.
Neither.
Let's do
I will
it.
have a look on Discord afterwards.
Alright, let's do a position announcement here. So how far are we away from? Well, almost like 36 miles or so. Looking at Pomona, which is kind of like the same as where Cable is, and 6,500 to the west. Cable, traffic, Skyhawk Papa Hotel Tango Mike. I was flying around via Benning just to circumvent all the real weather, but it didn't turn out great, so I set my own weather here, and we're now inbound to Cable at 6,500, 36 nautical miles to the east, so it will take a few minutes for me to get to Cable. Hope you guys will still be there.
And we're all here.
Roger, thanks.
Looks like there's a helicopter here disguised as a Bonanza
A helicopter,
hovering over the runway.
that's interesting.
Cable traffic, Scout number 65415, runway 24 is vacated and taxiing to parking. Cable.
Alright, so
Traffic, 1429 Mike, turning.
all of the other pilots
base,
at Cable, that's
runway
awesome.
24
You can
full
see
stop.
Bernardino
Yep.
airports, I think. Quite sure, actually. Again, without a GPS, it becomes so
What are
much
these
more.
drone Bonanzas doing? Anybody see them?
Bonanza issues at Cable. 34 nautical miles. Still looking good. And at 6,500 we can do whatever. And that's again something that the CAT ratings are also trying to inspire in you, I guess, when you try to complete all of those CAT ratings at PilotEdge.
Cable traffic,
is-
Skyhawk 1429 Mike, final runway 24 full stop. Cable.
Is that in Echo airspace as a VFR pilot you can do whatever. And so you can buy yourself time in preparation for an approach, for example, or for some other thing that you're not completely sure about. In Echo airspace you can do whatever. At the same time though, you need to really be careful of not flying into any other traffic. So flight following is always of great value. I think even for the Cat 10 rating, that's one of the best strategies to complete the Cat 10 is to become much more aware and mindful of Echo airspace that you can use to just circle around and take your time to prep for your, I think it was a transition through a Bravo airspace. And the same you can see also here for this flight. I mean, as long as we're flying above the Charlie, above the Delta, yeah, we are in our own little world. One consideration here is to also look at the fly routes. Los Angeles fly routes.
Cable traffic, Skyhawk 1429
As you
Mike
can see
has,
here.
vacated the runway. Cable.
So because this airspace is so busy, because of all of these airports, there are also many departure routes and arrival routes and approaches. ATC gives us this chart as VFR
November
pilots
6514.
to cross
You here?
through this very dense airspace. And these are preferred routes with preferred altitudes. And I know of this one above 4,500 to the north here of Ontario that we're actually flying now as well at 6,500. So if you're flying in this airspace, it's good courtesy to stick at these fly routes, VFR fly routes. Also flying with Ultra. Oh, this is Bernardino, I think. Where's this? This looks more like Bernardino. And that other field that we saw, was that Redlands then? That should be Redlands. Looking at my map, yeah, that should be Redlands. Yeah, so in terms of distance, approximation, I'm still off. Also with my previous stream when flying to Ramona, I was expecting to see Ramona already just over the nose, while it was actually already 10 miles further down the road. So yeah, I'm really using far too few navigational resources to really do proper serious VFR flights. Like my timer, cross-referencing and stuff. I'm using VORs right now, which is pretty okay. But it could be much more serious, much more spot on. And I feel just a little bit casual streaming and just having fun doing these VFR challenges and stuff. But I should actually be a little bit more serious about this, because the whole point of these VFR challenges is also just to learn something, right? And to keep improving on our VFR skill set. So, but look at this weather. So yeah, I haven't been. I usually flew with X-Enviro, as you all know, and I really like the haziness and stuff. But because X-Enviro to me was totally broken, weird weather effects and glitches and stuff, I didn't fly with X-Enviro for several streams. And then suddenly I came into another streamer who showed me ultra weather for X-Plane, and I thought, hey, this looks pretty much like X-Enviro, it's even better. And so I bought it. It was $30, I think, something like that, and I'm totally loving it. So this is ultra weather, nice haziness, nice smoothing of weather changes. Again, I'm still looking for a proper weather engine, so not the actual texturing and the eye candy of clouds and weather, but the actual engine that drives the that retrieves all of the weather data, which could be much more precise, much more multi-layered than the default system here in X-Plane, kind of like Active Sky Next. And those guys are considering, or have even decided already, to also serve X-Plane users, so that would be nice. Digital, hey Tim, how is it going for you? I see clear skies. Yeah, so I was trying to fly via Benning. This was the idea that I had. And to get a little bit along Palm Springs, and then to the north there, because I expected there would be a little bit better weather. But there were some moments where I was in total IMC, and it stayed for that for a few miles, and then I thought, okay, failed. Was not able to complete this flight with real world weather, and so I changed it up to make it a perfect blue sky VFR flight. So that's what happened. Hope your flight went well. Looking forward to the debrief soon. Let me see. So we're still on our way down west. 25 nautical miles. This is such a nice area. You've got a valley here that goes up to the north to Apple Valley and all kinds of other airports. Also more desert-like terrain, which is really nice. But it is so pretty with photoreal. My gosh. There's Bernardino again. And we should be able to see Ontario International Airport, somewhere around there. We're flying up north, that VFR flyway. I think it's over there even. Is that Ontario? Yeah. No, it's not. That's this airport has, has annoyed me, has frustrated me. Why? Because clearly it looks like an airport, a public open airport, but it's closed. And it is depicted as such also on the map with this little symbol. And so when I was flying from the north down to the south to get to San Bernardino, I mistook San Bernardino for this airport, because I thought, hey, I don't see any other airport here. This well, this actually symbol represents a closed airport with runways and stuff. So I'm quite aware of what this symbol now means, and every time that I fly here and I see that airport, I think, damn you! And I was talking to the tower controller, like, oh yeah, I see San Bernardino, and I got arrival instructions, and I just entered this pattern for this airport, and I thought, hey, the runway is a bit off, and I'm doing something weird, and I was landing. And then I thought, oh damn it, I landed at some closed airport and San Bernardino is actually all the way down over there. Great lesson. And also, obviously those are mistakes, but this is exactly what flight simulation is all about. I mean, you can try this stuff out. Also now with our current flight, we're just trying to see if we could make cable using real world weather. And the fact that we were not able to is not a failure in my mind at all. I mean, we tried. But that's the fun of simulation, especially with PilotEdge, that you can explore and have attempts at this and learn along the way, and I think that's really, really cool. I've mistaken it for Ontario a few times, exactly. Yeah, I cut the flight short at Corona. Ah, roger. Decided to stick with real world weather. Yeah. So yeah, the weather was a bit, yeah. So again, when I was looking at the weather, which is also, I thought, at least in my mind, was a great addition to this challenge, because the weather was so bad and it was improving actually over time. You can see the IMC is already away. It's now all marginal VMC. Such a challenge also inspires you, challenges you, encourages you to understand weather, real world weather, and to predict weather changes, to see if you're able to make your destination airport by looking at the TAFs and all of the other weather charts. And so I did, and I saw that the weather was generally gradually improving. We get multi-layered clouds, broken and scattered. Let's see, meet our cable currently. IMC still, look at that, broken 900 feet, totally inaccessible for us VFR pilots. Forecasts, and you can see that the weather is generally improving. And so, including weather, real-world weather in your flights is also a great way to learn more about weather, and also flight planning as well, which is really, really great. Alright, so again, we're staying up north of this particular highway. This is that VFR flyway that we're flying with the mountains to our right. We still need some way to go. There's that closed airport, so Ontario International should be already in sight. Very near. We're flying at 6,500 plus, so we're overflying all of that Charlie airspace. That seems like Ontario, I think. 2 runways, yes. Ontario. Very good. Now what we can do is the way to go, usually exactly Vega. I totally agree. So obviously we cannot already we can already start the descent here, but I'm a bit worried about this inner chunk of cable. So I'd rather fly at this altitude around here, see cable, and then go down and then enter the pattern here. The pattern is left hand. We don't see RP there mentioned. And I'm expecting that runway 24 is going to be used. Usually the winds are coming from the coast. Land inwards. 123.0. Don't hear anyone on the radio. Yes. So if it's a left-hand pattern for 24, that means that the traffic pattern is actually on this southern side, right, of the airport. If we're flying like this, and left, crosswind, and then downwind. So to enter it, we need to cross over the airfield and then make a teardrop to the right and enter the downwind. Now, I think we've got enough room here. We also got a, if you look here, you can see a highway, freeway, or whatever it is. And we don't have a GPS, so we need to be sure that we're not flying into that Charlie airspace, which is going to be fun. What's the traffic pattern altitude? Always important. Full screen. It's 2200, so not 1000 feet AGL as usual. $2,200. That's good. To have the high res sectional, yeah. Again, looking around. Is that Ontario? Yes, that's Ontario again. Looking good. Thanks for the host, Prince. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. And welcome to the channel, guys. 12 of you flying the weekly VFR challenge. So if you have a PilotEdge account, you can join your fellow PilotEdge members like me every Monday at 17:30 Zulu. We're going to do a VFR challenge, one that we publish on my Discord and through my Twitter, Instagram, and this is the particular challenge that we're all flying today from French Valley to Cable Airport, and the challenge is no use of the GPS. And if you're familiar with the SoCal area here, the LA area, you know that there's a lot of airspace here, so we need to be very aware of what we're doing. Hey Don, it's good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're all doing well, guys. Coming over from Prince. Okay, having that said, let's go back again. You can see here, thanks for the subscription, Digital. Thanks, appreciate it, your support. There's a dip in the highway here, right? This chunk. So we can use that as a reference for cable. And if you look outside, you can see that there's the dip. So that means that cable should be right very near there. And there's cable.
Take a traffic, Arrow 3 Lima Sierra, 10 miles south, landing 26.
Helicopter, and someone is 10 miles south. Alright, we're so already flying to the north here. If we stay above this particular highway, we kind of are clear of the Charlie, so if we just stick to the north, we can already go down here. Let's do that. And let's do an announcement as well. So we create situational awareness, or shared situational awareness, among the pilots using this frequency flying here around cable. And this runway, what runway is it? 24, yeah. Cable traffic, Skyhawk, Papa Hotel, Tango, India Mike, is around 5 miles northeast of cable, currently at 6,000 feet and descending. We're going to fly from the north to the south and cross over midfield to enter the left downwind for runway 24 for a full stop cable. Thanks for the follow, Prince. Thank you. Appreciate it. Subscription by Digital and Chemo. Guys, you are awesome. Awesome. Okay. So we can set our heading bug here at 24 if X-plane is still capable of working along.
Take a traffic, Arrow 3 Lima Sierra, 5 miles south, maneuvering to enter the 45 to left downwind 26. Take it.
26. It is 24. And I think he said cable, so okay, and he said 5 miles, so I think there was a mistake. So somewhere 5 miles south there's someone else. And again, this is the challenge, or something new, I guess, when flying with these group flights and VFR. These challenge you to create a more sophisticated picture of what's going on around these airfields, right, in this airspace. Rather than when you're flying alone, you can do whatever. But now we need to create a mental picture, an image of what's actually going on around cable, so we can fit ourselves in. So there's cable. Still, we need to go down to 2200. That's the traffic pattern altitude, and we've got all sorts of terrain here. And we've got someone else.
Take it, traffic, Arrow 3 Lima Sierra is on the 45 to left downwind 26. Take it.
24, right? 24. He's somewhere around here. That's perfect. So we will already be at the ground once we are there. Donis, thanks for the follow. Surprised you're not the uncertified bot. Yeah. Let me see. Landing lights on. Still, we can keep our mixture in. We're still above 3,000 feet MSL. Everything is set. Still need to go down. Clear of the Ontario Charlie. There is cable. Let's do another position report. You can do several, so any other pilot is now jumping in the cockpit at cable who hasn't heard my announcement a few minutes ago is now reminded that I'm still here approaching cable. So you need to do these announcements a couple of times. Cable traffic, Sky Papa Hotel Tango Mike is 5 miles northwest of the airport, currently at 3,500 and descending to 3,000. Going to overfly the field and do the left downwind for runway 24 for full stop. Cable. A lot of stuff there. It's also important
Take
to...
a traffic arrow 3 Lima Sierra entering left downwind 26 from the 45. Daggett.
26, oh he's Daggett. That's my mistake. And I was flying at 3,000-ish, just to stay above the traffic pattern, which is at 2,200. So I'd like to be 500 feet above the traffic pattern at least. Now the Charlie is over there, so I cannot go that far. There's our highway here, or some kind of freeway or something here that you can use as a reference. I feel safer just to join the downwind rather than doing my teardrop. I don't feel right about the teardrop. I'm going to enter the downwind right away. Let's go for that. Alrighty, there's 2,200 traffic pattern. And cable traffic, Sky Pop Hotel Tango, and Mike is joining the left downwind for runway 24, full stop. Alright, can already start our descent. We're already cross midfield, obviously. Mixture full in. There's the runway. Good. Heading back at the bottom. Lights on, everything is on, perfect. Watch that speed, Tim. And cable traffic, Sky Pop Hotel Tango Mike is turning left base 24, full stop, cable. Watch that speed, especially when you're going slow and making steep turns. That's the recipe for stalls. Oh, there we go already. And cable traffic, Sky Pop Hotel Tango Mike is turning final 24, full stop, cable. Yes. Man, I should do these traffic patterns a bit more often. Alright, we're going a bit fast, a bit too high. Forward slipping here. Looks good. Full flaps. There we go. A lot of speed there. Still energy under the wings. Nice. And breakage. Flaps up. Very cool. Let's get to the left here. Cable Airport. I don't know if I've ever visited this airport before. And cable traffic, Sky Pop Hotel Tango Mike is clear, runway 24, taxiing to the ramp. Cable. And there we are, landing lights off, strobe lights off. Let's lean for ground. And there we are. Yeah, so the weather was too bad. Real world weather was too bad for us to make it to cable, unfortunately. But that was a fun try. Also just the whole pre-flight bit of just considering to get to cable while incorporating that real weather, nasty weather stuff and ceilings, and just to see what room we actually have in Echo airspace to get to cable anyway.
Traffic, 65415, Jim, we are sitting on the south ramp.
South ramp. Roger that. Let's have a look. I didn't see you guys at the approach, but thanks. I will text you around to see you.
Roger.
Let's see.
And we are on the chat frequency 12275.
Roger that. Yeah, that's also a good remark I guess I should make on the stream. But first, let's have a look. Nice hangar here. It doesn't seem like human traffic. I see some Skyhawks over there. I think if I continue this route, I will fly myself into some other hangar. So I don't think that this is the right way to go. Or should I? Let's have a look. We have all the time. No, this is again a bit weird. So let's turn around. I like to park with all of the others who joined today's event, which is so cool. But yeah, to incorporate all of that weather planning as well, flight planning based on weather, I think is so relevant, and also enriches your flight simulation practice. It teaches you something about weather development and stuff. It was the south, right? Yeah. South ramp. Perhaps those guys are over there. Let's have a look. Yeah, so my plan was just to stay low, around 1,000 feet AGL or so, and stay under all of that, underneath all of those ceilings. But that didn't quite work. Perhaps all of the pilots are actually parked inside a hangar here because they are using prepared and I'm using X-plane, and so that's why I do not see them. That could be an explanation. Let's just make sure. Because I don't think there's anything behind this big, huge hangar thing. Obviously, we could also use the camera. Let's do that. Where are the guys? Hello? Wait a minute. Not here, not there, not here, not here, not here. Not here. I think this might be a prepared versus X-plane issue. I think. There's a helicopter that I didn't see before. So that is definitely PilotEdge traffic. I think that is the issue. So yeah, I'm just going to continue and get back to that spot that I was at a while ago. Other traffic there. Interesting. Look at that. Also going to join the downwind. We don't know. Yeah, so that's the big value of real world weather here. And so yeah, I knew that before I was already attempting this flight with real world weather, that this was obviously not a flight that I would do in the real world. This flight from French Valley to Cable, considering these bad weather conditions. But that's the advantage of flight simulation, that you can try and learn. Ah, there goes the helicopter. Awesome. And obviously, for a Skyhawk, helicopters are actually very, very dangerous because the downwash of that propeller can lift you up. That wind can catch underneath our wings, and then we're done for. Yeah, so unfortunately I cannot see the other guys. I don't know where they are. So I will just park over here, I think. Nice logo. And boom! There we are. Alright, 1,000 RPMs. Very good. pitot heat should have already been turned off. Yeah, that's good. And transponder off, and avionics off, and cut off. No, I'd keep my avionics on. Let's go to to the other frequency. Hello, avionics, can you still turn on? Yeah,
Negative. I think.
Let's see, we can still go to the air-to-air frequency. And that was also something that I mentioned before, was that we should not use 123.45 as a frequency to do air-to-air chatter, but actually 122.75. 123.45 for PilotEdge is actually reserved for support, PilotEdge support by the staff. That was my mistake. I mentioned that in the last stream. We should actually use 122.75. So let's do that. 122.75. Hello guys, this is Tim. Is there still someone on this frequency perhaps? I'm on cable.
Nobody here.
Good to hear your voice. Man, I was looking for some of you here on the cable airport, but I couldn't find anyone. So perhaps it's a difference between explain or prepared, I'm not quite sure.
Well, you're underground about 100 feet.
Ah, yes, that's the idea. Perhaps I can see you if I use the camera, my gosh. Yeah, so again...
yes and no, because I'm using Explain 11 as well. I can see you. You've just parked in front of me, actually in front of me to my right. And I can see the two other guys on the airport as well. And the elevation is okay for me.
Oh, yeah, I think the elevation should be fine. I can see you, or at least over my left shoulder. That's... Okay, so that makes sense, but the whole altitude or terrain, airport elevation issue, that's a bit weird, because I thought that PilotEdge was actually had already fixed that, didn't they? With some clamping kind of feature. But perhaps I should look upward here to find you guys. But I thought it was already fixed.
I'm to your left, and I'm at the edge of those hangars. And then we have one other plane's on the other side of the airport. And I can see him just fine, but I can't see either of you two.
Roger. So perhaps...
Yeah, same here. I can see the P3D plane and not the XP11 ones.
If you use your camera and go up 100 feet or so, then you might see it. I don't know.
Let's have a look. That's still a bummer. We should still poke Keith there to fix this. I think it only works when airplanes that are in the ground, they will be clamped upwards. That's so you don't see those shark fins anymore taxiing around on airports. That's what they fixed, but they haven't fixed it yet the other way around. So if there are airplanes that are flying in or taxiing in the sky, they don't clamp those aircraft to the ground, and they should still fix that as well, obviously. So it's still a bit buggy in that sense.
Well, look, if somebody's under, then someone else is going to be over. So which one do you clamp?
Yeah, so it's user specific, and that's the beauty of the fix. So if you're independent of whether you're flying on prepared or on X-plane, if there is in your sim another human aircraft that is flying beneath you, it's going to be clammed upwards. And so that particular aircraft that is flying in the ground there will not notice any changes or so, because it's user specific. It's something that happens locally on the PilotEdge account of that particular pilot.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, apparently it looks okay for Explain to have the all the sims looks okay, but the other way around is actually not the case. So yes, we may put a message to the forum and let Keith knows about that.
Roger that, roger that. So guys, I'm curious, perhaps you've already did a debrief. I was flying another entirely different route there to circumvent all the real world bad weather. Did you already guys debrief, and what are your thoughts, initial thoughts about this flight and this particular challenge? What did you learn, or what do you found particularly interesting? What should we do for next week's challenge? Any thoughts?
Yeah, we just checking if we are not stepping on each other. It looks okay. On my side, I think if we want to keep the real weather, I don't know if we should mention that if the weather is not okay, we have to change the plan. So, but we might go a step beyond what was your initial plan, because initial plan was to fly VFR. But it would have been interesting actually today to change our flight plan for an IFR, just to stick with the real weather.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I obviously knew before I thought about making these VFR challenges that there would obviously be a Monday sometime in the future when we would have IMC or not good enough weather just to fly. So you're totally right, and others suggested this as well on my stream, like hey, go IFR then, right? That's the beauty of IFR. But I'm particularly interested in also brushing off or improving on our VFR skills as well. And well, then the alternative would be indeed to change our flight plans at the last time. But in terms of a shared experience and allowing everyone to make to plan their flights and then to change that up at the very last moment is also a bit of a bummer. So we need to think about this, I think, just to coordinate the whole change up if the weather worsens. I'm not quite sure what we should do.
Well, like I said, this weather is going to be like every day like this for a while. So I wouldn't schedule. Don't plan for flights that are in the LA basin. Okay, you want to be outside that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I always for the previous challenge I was already looking at the weather forecast at weather.com and just to see what the weather of next Monday would be. In any case, the Palm Springs area is always good weather. Everything north beyond that mountain ridge is usually fine. So yeah, that's something that we could definitely do for the next upcoming VFR challenges. But as a general rule, though, I feel also a bit inspired just to perhaps incorporate that whole real world weather issue and still make it valuable for us to consider bad real world weather and to circumvent it or to plan for something else like IFR. But I guess most of us, I don't know what actually the experience is of our VFR challenge participants, if because we could also say, well, if the weather is not good enough, we're going to fly IFR as a rule, but we always stick to the same kind of departure airport and destination airport. I'm not quite sure.
If you're going to do that, you got to make sure that the arrival airport has instrument approaches.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So you can do IFR all you want, and then you're going to get down, and you're not going to be able to get to the airport.
Makes total sense. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a huge amount of places to go that are north of the mountains in LA and to the east, and I would recommend that if you want to do that. And there's plenty of VFR stuff, like Bakersfield and Lancaster and all up in there. There's lots of places to go.
Yeah, totally right. So I guess that means that from now on I should take a little bit more time in looking at the weather forecast for LA, and if the weather is a bit well, not sunny enough, then I'm just going to stick to flights for those different airports, yeah, or areas. I heard disconnected. That's not good.
Connected to PilotEdge.
Yeah.
But what you can count on for June is something here called June gloom. And it's pretty much the fog comes in and it rolls in, rolls out. Sometimes like today, it's very thick. Yesterday didn't break at all. Today it's still going. It's about 1,500 foot ceiling, drizzling. So that's we have that a lot this month.
Yeah, you mentioned that as well on the Discord. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, so I guess that would be the solution then. I should take a little bit more time, carefully look at the weather forecast, and then pick either of those, one of those areas where usually the weather is much better. But again, the biggest VFR challenge I think can be found in the LA area, of course. And as soon as the weather improves, we can then schedule a new VFR challenge for the LA area. But other than that, yeah, Bakersfield, Palm Springs, also the Apple Valley stuff there, and also Las Vegas. Obviously, we can all do very interesting stuff there as well. So yeah, thanks for that feedback. Other thoughts about this particular flight, stuff that you guys learned or found interesting, or like, hey, this is something that I should practice more. Any thoughts on that, perhaps?
Oh, on my side, it was a pretty straightforward flight, like I said before you arrived. I don't know if you probably can see me on Discord with the screenshot. I basically went to the south when I left French Valley, and I overflew the Lake Elsinore and stayed along the Highway 15, and then I make a right turn to the Lake Matthews visual reference point, and from that point I've just asked for a Charlie transition, and I was approved for the transition, so I went from that point directly straight forward to the to cable, so it was pretty easy for me. And I see that most of people connected today did the other way around. Actually, they from what I can see, they try to remain outside any controlled airspace. So I think I kind of cheat on that one.
Well, you didn't quite cheat, but again, it was something consciously in my mind, at least, to avoid flight following, especially when we're flying with multiple people. I know that can put some pressure on the workload of pilots, but in any case, they can just deny your flight following request if they are really that busy. So perhaps we shouldn't be that careful with avoiding flight following, but that's obviously the best route. The first thing that came to my mind when I was planning my flight as well, just to request flight following and go right through that airspace. And I had the exact same flight plan, kind of like this exact same thing that you were mentioning as well. And avoiding all of that airspace makes stuff even a little bit more challenging. You can overfly all of that airspace, obviously, which is a more simple approach. But I'm still wondering, how did you deal with the weather? Did you fly with real world weather then, or did you just change it up and make it VFR?
I based my navigation today on wind. So I took the actual wind from the moment we took off. So I didn't want to change the wind, but what I did just to load the real weather and just changing the base of the cloud layer.
Yeah.
So I just went into the weather menu and pushed up the lowest layer of clouds, just to allow me to fly according to the plan. So just to mention two comments regarding what you asked before. I think first it also depends on the participant, as you rightly said, depending on the experience and so on. So if most of us are okay to fly an IFR in case the weather is not okay for VFR, for me it's okay. I have no problem for that. So you may want to make a survey on Discord or something, or the other solution would be to ask people to prepare. That's pretty rapid to do it. To prepare a second flight plan based on the flight around Palm Spring area, as you rightly said as well. It's always pretty nice weather to fly there, so it's feasible.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Yeah, I should think about that a little bit more. I really like the idea of also including IFR flight, even though these are called weekly VFR challenges. I think that IFR is a great solution to VFR problems, even if it's just flying IFR to depart and then to cancel your IFR and continue and complete the flight and the challenge using VFR. But I'm not quite sure if it stays true to the spirit of the VFR challenge, so that's something that I should surely think about a little bit more. And we can also pick a standard alternative flight plan, as you said, in the Palm Springs area or whatever, so we can all reset our airplanes to Palm Springs and do that particular flight. But I think there should be some value there in the fact that the weather is worsening or the weather is not as expected, and what do you do then? And I really like that side of the VFR challenge as well. And if that means that we need to fly IFR initially or the entire flight, then so be it. But I'm not quite sure if we then might keep others away, other PilotEdge pilots away, because they're not familiar with IFR yet. So yeah, perhaps a survey on Discord or Twitter might make sense. You know, it's a good one.
Yeah, definitely. You have VFR challenge, not IFR challenge, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
IFR kind of changes the whole feeling of this. But what I did for the weather is I just used historical. I just went back to Wednesday, and I just used Wednesday's weather. The winds were about the same as today, but a little better, and it's still real. A few days ago.
Yeah, that's also a good one. Well, that's obviously also the most straightforward, simple solution. Is just to say, guys, when the weather is not good, just reset it to something similar, and then let's all fly. I mean, we can be very tough about it and say, well, we're always going to fly. I have real world weather, and so if the weather is too bad, well, fix something else like IFR flight. But I also do feel that in spirit of the VFR challenge, that perhaps we should then just allow ourselves just to change up the weather, like you guys did as well, and just say, well, I'm just going to change the cloud base or whatever I need to do just to make this flight VFR. Yeah, I feel a bit more for that solution, I think. What do you guys think?
One
Yeah,
thing
I'm really
you could do
enjoying the
maybe,
VFR
Tim,
part.
is
I've flown
if you
thousands
see
of hours
that
of IFR,
maybe a few
so
days
it's
before
like I'm
the
kind of enjoying
challenge,
this whole VFR
the weather's
experience.
going to be bad. Maybe you can give this weather to set in the sim, and then we all still have the same weather, but we can still perform the challenge, and maybe the weather can be still challenging, but it will be doable.
Yeah, that's also good. Well, I really like to avoid any kind of coordination or stuff on the radio in case the weather is not good and we'll all need to wait on the ramp to see what our general setting is going to be. And I also think for this flight, for example, we all used our own weather. It was still fun, I think. It doesn't really matter that our weather is not consistent. I mean, obviously we'd like to fly in real world weather and make the same considerations and stuff. So ideally that would be what the weekly VFR challenge is all about. But if the weather is too bad, I don't think that it really is that bad if we just are free to set our own weather, I guess. And we all like the challenge of it, so we might set weather that still challenges us to our own preference, perhaps.
Yeah,
The
because
only
there's more
thing
to VFR
is,
challenging
we have to
than
be
just the
agreed that
weather.
it's all the same runway.
Navigating the landmarks, navigating around mountains and all that, and landing, and also, if we have to do ATC, that's also fun. So there's a lot of aspects to it. Weather's just one of them.
Yeah, I totally agree. But another comment that was there, that's also obvious. Yeah, if we change the winds, then especially for non-towered fields, then it might not become, we're not consistent with what departure runway we're going to pick. So winds are indeed important, but because we should all consistently depart from the same runway. So that's something that we should perhaps keep. I mean, winds are usually not the problem. Well, we could also have obviously strong winds and gusty winds. Yeah, that's also a variation. Yeah, it could be complex, I guess. I would say we can just reset our own weather like we like to, just to challenge ourselves like we want. If the weather if the real weather conditions are not good enough for us to make that particular flight, rather than setting all kinds of rules and all kind of coordination, I think it should be lean and mean.
And it doesn't have to be Palm Springs either. We could have done Kern County, like Kern Airport I was telling you about. That's a real fun challenge. Up and over the mountains and down and lining up and no way to do a go around, and those are kind of challenging too.
Yeah, that's totally right. I have a nice list of all kinds of other challenges that we can do in the future. But yeah, it's also a learning experience, obviously, for me, just to see how we can set up these weekly VFR challenges and still be as true to the VFR challenge in terms of VFR flying, and also incorporate as much realism as possible, but not for the sake of ease of just setting up these or organizing these VFR challenges. And so I would say just to keep these weekly challenges simple in organizational terms. I think it's best if we just say, well, you can reset the weather and you can also just continue and do the flight IFR if you like, but as long as it's a group challenge and we keep flying at it on a weekly basis, I think that's the most important bit. But I should I guess ask on Discord to see what other pilots might think about this.
Yeah, I think it's the solution. Just pull a survey on Discord and you'll see what is the majority actually, because as I said, for me it's no problem to go IFR rather than VFR. I'm pretty comfortable with it, but that might not be the case for other people, so a survey might help in that situation. And for the wind question, actually that's an important point, because effectively if we all take different routes, we may not arrive at the same time at the destination airport, so it might be questionable about which runway to use. if people use different type of wind configuration, but just load the real weather, and if the clouds is a problem, just switch to manual, and it will keep the actual weather, but just get rid of all the clouds and the wind will stay as it is. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it also changes if you push it ahead an hour, because I notice on the coast now it's all VFR again.
oh, I'm checking.
Not VFR
Yes,
here.
it is.
It's not all VFR. There's, yeah, I see what you mean. On the LA coast, near LAX, there's a few airfields that's reporting VFR, but like 5 miles away from there, there's marginal VFR. So it's really localized, some VFR weather. But yeah, it could be true that doing the maybe like half an hour later could be slightly better, but it changes with each day, so I wouldn't count on it.
No, it's not. It's not a consistent solution. I think just to do that. I think indeed it's best if the real world weather conditions are not good enough for us to make that VFR flight, then you just switch over to manual. I think in X-Plane at least that it keeps all of the real world weather conditions like clouds and winds and stuff, but then it's manually set, and then you can just remove the particular weather aspects that are obtrusive to our VFR flight, like clouds or whatever it may be, and we can just remove those and just still continue the flight with as many real-world weather conditions as that allow us to make that flight. That also sounds like a good plan.
One thing you might also, one thing you could also maybe do, Tim, is because for this challenge, I think you posted a challenge like one day after the last one. And what you could maybe do is maybe post it like Friday or Saturday, and then you can already kind of figure out, the forecast will be a lot clearer to see what the weather will be like, and you might just pick a challenge, because you said you have a list of challenges you might want to do that fits within that weather. So maybe that's another consideration.
That's an obvious one. Yeah, that's a good one, because then we have a 3-day forecast, and that forecast might be much more reliable. Yeah, and then we can. I'm much more sure what flight we are able to do, and then still, I mean, we might still do flights where weather might still be tricky or challenging, but we do like to be able to make that flight in real world conditions as often as possible. Yeah, so it could be. Yeah, I could post the VFR challenge on the later, or well, nearer to the to Mondays or Friday or Saturday or something like that. Still allowing others to have enough time to plan their flights. And in case there could still be a scenario when the weather is too bad once we meet at the ramp, and we could then say, well, change the weather according to your own preferences, set it to manual and change it, remove the clouds or remove the visibility or whatever is stopping you from doing this VFR flight, and just have fun. I think that's a really lean way of doing things, and still keeping true to the VFR challenge, and also as much as we can to the real weather conditions. I think that might be a good solution, but still I will ask this on Discord to see what others think as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I just switched back to real weather here in active sky, and it's marginal VFR here.
Yeah, same here.
I will do this as well. Let's see what the weather is like.
The METAR is actually reporting no clouds, but I think it's not reporting clear skies as well, so I think that might be broken. But it seems to be a marginal VFR around cable.
Let's see.
I have broken at 1100, and that's definitely kind of what it's like. 9 statute miles, and broken at 1100. That's about right.
Yeah, it seems to be better. I've also loaded up real world weather, and by the time I loaded up here, after I stopped the flight at Corona, the clouds were completely obscuring the mountains, and I can actually see kind of the tips of the mountains now, so the clouds have definitely gone up.
So,
well, that comes and goes during the day, because you can instantly find yourself in almost zero visibility. So, this time of year.
Yes, absolutely. So when I was flying towards the Paradise VOR, about to cross over or cross through the Ontario Coast Charlie,
any more flying today? I don't have the time.
I was would. Basically,
it's already
weather,
9 o'clock here in the evening.
And half a minute later, there was a pocket of clear sky, and after that, there was icy weather again.
Good to see you here.
It's really, really localized. It changes completely.
Now, one thing that does happen is this
also, thanks for the follow,
it's going to clear it all. It does generally tend to clear
Hey,
from
Brandon,
the
good to
east
see you.
towards the coast, and then the fog layer will move off. But this drizzle layer is a little bit, I don't know where it came from. It might be a low, kind of a low
Yeah,
offshore.
Captain,
I have to
every
check on
Monday.
that, but
Every Monday at
sometimes a little bit further,
17:30
like San Bernardino,
Zulu time, we
Riverside, it'll
all
clear
fly
there, but it'll
a
be horrible the rest
VFR
of the
challenge.
LA. And
So,
gradually it'll move to
if
the
you have
west a little
PilotEdge
bit, and then back to
accounts,
the east again by 5 o'clock.
jump in your
It's all back
airplane,
again.
do the same flight with us. It's an
I just
awesome
did
VFR
exactly the same
experience.
as you
Just
did.
a mass fly out or fly
On my
in,
side, I
whatever you
put
can call
the
it.
real weather right now, and currently it's broken at 2,500. So it means that under HIFR would have been possible to make it to cable because there's the VOR alpha approach. I've just
Yeah, that's what
looked at
Finnish
the
mentioned
map,
as well,
and,
VOR alpha
the
approach.
decision altitude was 2,243 feet, I think, and going cycling. So it would have been possible to make it under IFR.
I will post it on Discord just to see what others think, but this seems to be the best solution so far, in my mind at least. So as soon as the weather, I will post the next VFR challenge for next Monday at around Friday, so I have a better picture of what the weather is going to do on that next Monday. And in case the weather is too bad because of the unpredictable weather as part of LA, then we can just manually reset the weather to our own preferences. Just keep flying. I mean, it shouldn't be a reason just to cancel our flight or to make it far too difficult for others just to follow along. It should be as basic and simple as possible, as least coordination as possible, and I think this is the right solution. So I'm still curious, Digital, if you're still there, how did your flight? So you cancelled your flight and you went to Corona instead, right? You discontinued the flight. Any other aspects that you found interesting, or so that you learned, or that you thought, oh my gosh, I need to practice this a bit more? I'm curious what your experience was.
Well, I was originally planning to just set custom weather like most of you did and continue. My original plan was to go to Lake Elsinore northwest of French Valley and then over Lake Matthews through the Charlie airspace to cable. But by the time I arrived at Lake Matthews, it seemed that with real world weather it was not going to be able or possible to continue through the airspace. You know, with all the airfields around, I didn't want to fly as low as I was. So I cancelled my flight following and landed at Corona. For me, the main thing that I learned is that I probably want to keep flying with real world weather, just because it's, you know, otherwise it's always an easy flight. And I need to learn, or I need to practice a lot more with just general flight following, getting flight following and cancelling flight following, because I did forget a few things. But that's just due to the fact that I haven't flown on PilotEdge for quite a long time.
Roger that. Yeah, and also flight following is also can be a great aspect of flying VFR. Obviously, it's a great aid, and it's good practice just to keep that in shape as well. At the same time, though, I really love the fact that I was really conscious about not using flight following in this case, and making sure I could still get to cable without crossing any airspace. I was considering asking for crossing San Bernardino airspace delta there in case the cloud ceiling was, or the cloud base was too low, so I couldn't overfly it or could not fly around it because of terrain. But unfortunately the weather was too bad as well. And again, guys, I don't know what you think about this, but I'm still so much looking forward to a reliable weather engine, at least for X-Plane. I mean, I'd love to see Active Sky next for X-Plane, and also with cloud depictions that are reliable, so I don't have unexpected IMC suddenly out of nowhere that I cannot predict or see. Like in the real world, obviously, if you see a cloud or you can see haziness or whatever, you can just avoid it. But here in the sim, that's very, very difficult, and that makes it unreliable as a VFR pilot just to, again, circumvent to avoid all that nasty weather.
Yes, that's the main issue with the X-Plane weather at the moment. When the weather
Thank you,
reloads,
Original.
it, for like half a second removes all the clouds and then they slowly load
Thank
back
you,
in.
correct,
But then
Captain.
it's
Good to hear.
the updated new weather. So if the clouds like dropped 500
craft
feet, you're
acronym,
suddenly
yeah,
in
I know.
clouds, and that's actually what happened with me when I approached Lake Matthews. The clouds updated and it was like 100 feet lower, so I was suddenly in the clouds. And yeah, it's not really nice. So yeah, I hope X-Plane natively will fix that at some point, but maybe some other kind of cloud engine would be nice. Yeah, there's not really anything like that at the moment. It's kind of sad.
Oh, Captain, that's a good one. Captain. I should make that a link, Discord. It's also on my information pane. If you look at the information pane on my Twitch channel, you can find the link to Discord. You're free to jump on. Now, I had the exact same thing, Digital. I was flying to Benning and it looked okay-ish, and then suddenly visibility worsened and there I was in IMC. And that was quite unexpected and a little bit frustrating, obviously. And as an IFR pilot, I think I wouldn't mind that much, but especially as a VFR pilot where you like to stay clear of clouds and you really need to plan your headings and stuff based on the weather that you see in front of you to avoid all of that stuff. Yeah, it becomes quite valuable to have a reliable weather or cloud depictions. So hoping that Austin is hearing this as well and is going to implement a better weather engine, or that Active Sky Next is gonna do that. I believe that Keith, when I was visiting him in the US a month ago, he was telling that Active Sky Next might perhaps been already quite far in the development, but now that because X-Plane is now using a different kind of engine, the OpenGL or something else engine is using to do all of the graphical calculations in X-Plane, it changes up the core engine of how weather is depicted, and so they like to be quite modern with their engine, and so the project is postponed so they can work on a better, much more lean and much more fancy volumetric engine way to depict weather in X-Plane. So that's, I believe that was his idea, or what he was expecting that Active Sky Next was busy on. So I'm really looking forward to those guys bringing something for X-Plane. So yeah, this completes the flight, guys. I really enjoyed myself here in this flight. Again, the weather was a little bit too bad, as you can see here on Cable, non-towered airfield here in LA. This was the VFR challenge, to get to Cable from French Valley, considering the fact that you need to fly with real weather conditions, low ceilings and stuff. It was even IMC here once we started or departed from French Valley, so it was really quite difficult, and also without the use of a GPS. Yeah, that's challenging, right? That's what the whole VFR challenge is all about. And so I'm really glad that we also talked a little bit about ways by which we can still do these weekly VFR challenges each and every Monday at 17:30 Zulu time. Also when the weather is worsening, it's IMC or marginal VMC, and what do we do then to still continue our flying? So I will post that on Discord, and we can have a discussion on how we're going to deal with that in future VFR challenges. For those who don't know, again for the last time, the weekly VFR challenge is something that I'm organizing, I'm hosting each and every Monday. If you have a PilotEdge account, you're free to just jump in your own airplane and meet us at the ramp. So this was the VFR challenge for today. French Valley to Cable, and the challenge was fly that without a GPS. Really fun. I'm already thinking about what we're going to do next Monday at 17:30 Zulu time. So if you're interested in that and like to join, you don't have to be on this group chat. You can just fly on your own and just join us on the ramp and just complete the challenge on your own. You're totally fine and free to do that. Then hop over to my Discord channel. You can find the link in my some information pane there on my Twitch page, or you can go to my Twitter feed, UncertifiedPilot, and that's where I will post the next weekly VFR challenge, the next VFR challenge for next Monday, and you're free to join and brush off your VFR skills and improve on your VFR flying skills. I think it's really fun to fly VFR also on PilotEdge, and especially with a group, with others being in a pattern. So let's see how fun we can make this next VFR challenge. I'm hoping that you will like it as much as I will, at least. So that's the weekly VFR challenge. Yes. So well, stuff that I've learned, yeah, mostly I need to be a little bit more serious about VFR flying. I noticed that in the previous stream as well, in terms of my pitot tube heat that was still on. I made some dull mistakes while I was flying, and it was just because I was just casually flying, chatting with you guys, which I really love, but this is a challenge, and I really like to learn as much about flying as I can. So next time I'm trying to be a little bit more focused and serious about completing the challenge as best as I can, get a flow going. Perhaps I should also in the meanwhile practice some traffic patterns and stuff. because I like to be as good as a VFR pilot as I am an IFR pilot. So that's the whole idea. Guys, thank you for the follows and for your wonderful subscription. Schemo, thank you for your 10-month subscription. That's really, really kind of you. Prince for the host. Digital also for the subscription. Follows. Donis, thank you for the follow. Thomas, thank you for the follow. Jessica, thank you for the follow. Really, really much appreciated, guys. That support really means a lot. Thanks. Hoping to see you in my future streams as well, and perhaps even as part of this weekly VFR challenge. Really appreciate that. Captain, thank you for the subscription, man. Much appreciated. You're really fueling my spirit to fly. Thanks. So again, hoping to see you in my next stream. Also, I'm still continuing on my IFR training as well. I would like to complete or practice a RNAV approach, my first GPS approach on PilotEdge, and then I'm going to do my complete IFR flights. And I'm already studying and stuff, so I think I've got a good conceptual understanding of what I need to do. So that's also continuing these next few weeks. But each and every Monday, a weekly VFR challenge just to keep flying VFR and just to meet many of you guys here on PilotEdge and just to share this amazing experience, this amazing practice called flight simulation. As always, happy flights and blue skies. Bye. Palm Springs Tower, Skyline Hotel Tango, Mike is 10 miles north of the airport at 3000 with information X-ray for a full stop. Landing 13 left if that's available.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs altimeter is 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, so you're requesting straight in for 13.
If that's available.
Correction, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, straight in runway 13 left, and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 13 left, Papa Hotel Tango, in my case.
Palm Springs, Tunes, plus 4658 is type BC final slam call for passengers to Vegas S-file.
Honda's 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S-file, and I'll be forward standby. Honda's 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas airport. VFI Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs, Victor 370 to 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso, join the Cresso 3 arrival, maintain 7000, expect flight level 2405 minutes after departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3, initial flight 7000, expected to 0 departure 167, squawk 6316, glass switching side.
Pause 4658, reback is correct. Tango to Mike, taxi to ramp via Aqua Street.
Taxi to the ramp, you have to go remaining on this frequency from the landing.
Ontario Tower, Cessna 237 Charlie Alpha, approximately 4 miles to the west, inbound to land.
Number 237 Charlie Alpha, Roger, inner left traffic, left downwind runway 26 left before base.
Enter left downwind 26 left and record your base 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower, United 242 on the visual for 20 right, returning for a right base short.
United 242 John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170 at 13.
Clear to land, 20 right, land.
Palomar Tower, United 228 Kilo, IFX 124.
Here 520 Yankee Kilo, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 11. Number 237 Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, face land 7 Charlie Alpha.
Palm Springs ground plus 4658, east right, weather for taxi.
Honda's 4658, Palm Springs ground, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo Bravo.
Draw right via Echo Bravo 465.
Riverside Tower, good morning, November 2903 Alpha with you on the island.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, good afternoon. Runway 9 cleared low approach, report to missed.
November 2903 Alpha, clear low approach, runway 9, next report is
Palm Springs Tower, Pilots 4658